Welcome to Astronomicon, fellas.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having all for having us.
Yeah.
Is your first Astro experience?
It is.
For both of you?
It's out of this world.
I get it. This is the first time we've been in this particular venue, which is bigger and fancier, and we're all getting our steps in. There's a lot more walking around than we're used to in Astro.
How many Bonvoy points do you get for doing this here?
Yeah, for real.
I have a feeling they're all going to just like one guy.
One big
imagine.
Yeah, he put it on his card.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I have I'm always interested in lore and hearing people's stories, and of course, obviously, we're going to talk about the work that you're most known for right now and a lot of the work that you've done. But I want to start with each of you and go all the way back to some of your early inspirations. At what point you started to notice voice performances relative to other types of, acting and things like that, and at what point did each of you decide this is a career I want to embark on, this is something I want to try to do?
Good question. Well, I know, for me, like, I've been an actor my whole life. Both of my parents were actually actors. They met at the Second City in Chicago, where I'm from, and so just as soon as I knew, like, that was something you could do as a career, I was like, okay, I'm all in for that. I knew that I would want to go to school for acting and go to, get my degree.
And for those guys who don't know, Second City, Groundlings, like, those are like the breeding grounds for SNL.
Yes. For a long time, Second City was like considered along with like Groundlings and UCB, the place where they would go to get talent for SNL and stuff like it. It's improv, it's a big improv name, and so
I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but Second City Chicago was like Chris Farley, Bob Odenkirk.
That's right. Yeah, Steve Carell, Tim Meadows, Tina Fey, millions of amazingly talented people. So seeing that and like growing up around that world, I knew I wanted to do that. And then I wasn't really I almost sort of like stumbled into this voice acting thing. Like I was doing a lot of voice acting work with like commercials and stuff as an actor, but I was I didn't really go one day like, okay, I'm gonna be a voice actor and I'm gonna try to like be in cartoons or anything. As an actor, like you just audition for anything you can. You want to be working, and it doesn't matter if it's theater or commercial, voiceover, TV, on camera, whatever. Like you just want to work. So that I just went after any opportunity I could, and Rick and Morty, it went well.
What were some of the first jobs that you booked as you were going out on auditions and things like that?
Good question. The first job I booked out of college as a professional actor was for Jewel Osco, which is like, do you guys have that up in Michigan? It's a grocery store in Chicago, and they had a bunch of, no, I'm seeing a lot of no. It's a grocery store. It's like Publix, that kind of thing. It was literally like a commercial where I was holding up a sign of like the original Jewel Osco that was built in like the late 1800s or something, and all I did in the commercial was like, and that was it. And then like one day I was on the CTA, the public transit in Chicago, and all of a sudden I was seeing my face everywhere, like all over these train platforms. They were like on these huge movie screen sized things on the floor of the train platforms, like, and it was just of me, like this dumb smile, like holding up the thing. And I couldn't believe that was the first thing I ever booked. And then I didn't work for like a year, so it really kind of skewed my sense on how, success as an actor can go.
What kind of notes do you get on that job? Are they like, hold the sign with more energy? Or like, you lower it a quarter inch?
I think it was just like, give us a bigger smile. Like but it is funny, and I don't want to ramble too long, but it was funny because that being my first professional gig, I was doing it, and I was on set, and it was going good for like a minute, and then all of a sudden my stomach was like, I didn't know what was going on with my stomach, and I was trying, brave face, you'd never know, I was doing a good job and everything, but I had this like inner turmoil going on. I was just like, I don't know what's happening, and the whole time I'm doing this thing, I'm just like, oh my God, I can't be an actor, like I made the wrong career choice, like I don't know about, apparently my body just can't handle the pressure and the nerves of like being in front of the camera. And then I got home and I realized that I had accidentally eaten raw chicken the night before. And I was like, oh, okay, great. It was just that. All right, cool. Because I got these like chicken cutlets from Jewel, and
the grocery store and you had food.
Yeah. I literally had it was a very low level active food poisoning while I was doing it, and yeah, because they were like chicken cutlets from Jewel, and I assumed they were fully cooked, and they weren't. So the night before for a snack, I had like tossed one in the microwave for like a minute, and then eaten it. And I was just like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then that was why I felt that way. But it was
Thank God it wasn't mental. It was only physical.
No, hey, that was my exact reaction. I was like, oh, thank God. Okay, I can be an actor. I can handle that great. Okay.
But please don't do anything else. Don't ever cook food for people.
No,
Ever.
you don't want me as your personal chef. Trust me.
It's like one of the community paintball episodes where Joel McHale thinks he got hit by paintball, and he's like, "Oh, it's just blood.
Yes, yeah.
I'm just bleeding."
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. What a relief.
So, what was your story about kind of falling in love with this, getting the bug, and getting your start?
Yeah, again, I was also an actor from a very young age. I think I always just kind of liked attention. I'm an only child, so I was not given the spotlight. So yeah, naturally gravitated towards performance, and I think any cartoon or movie that I watched, I tried to copy and repeat, and try to get the lines right, So if it was if it was Simpsons, for instance, I would try to do the Homer voice and all that. So it was just imitation as a form of flattery for anything that I was, anything that I was watching as a kid. Some of those early influences, obviously, Simpsons, Animaniacs was huge. A lot of the superhero shows, a lot of DC stuff. We talk about Justice League, the animated Batman series.
Yeah.
Anything Disney. So, that's just sort of where, I guess where the idea was first incepted, just that I could imitate stuff. But then, I wanted to be an actor from an early age. So I did community theater, I did school theater. There was a performance of The Hobbit. So as soon as I got to middle school, they were casting for The Hobbit, and I was like, man, I read that book. I love Tolkien, and I ended up booking the role of Belden booking in 6th grade. He called me in 6th grade.
I booked it in 6th grade. That's hilarious.
What Hollywood does to a person.
Your attorney had some questions about the contract.
I got up on stage and they clapped. That was me booking Bilbo. But I got to play Bilbo. I was like a 6th grader, and that was really kind of fun and cool. I think it was just.
You're already speaking the Astronomicon language. I've heard Batman. I've heard of The Hobbit. We're
good.
You're in the right place.
I have a list. I'm trying to tick all the boxes. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so and that was the year that Fellowship came out. That was we did Hobbit, and then like a month later, that was when Fellowship hit theaters. So it was a fun time to be.
So that was
probably like
before
2000.
people knew, that was before it was really mainstream too. Then, because I think those.
Nobody ever heard of.
No, well,
yes, you're
the
right.
mainstream people didn't really know.
And I wonder if this script that we used for The Hobbit was very quickly, I don't know, you couldn't do that anymore, because it was a very kids version of The Hobbit.
Sure.
But I wonder if Warner Brothers, our wonderful overlords, Warner Brothers.
Now you have a parent stand up and be like, "That's not canon what you're doing right now."
Right. Yeah. No, there were definitely a few probably that was like, this isn't the Lord of the Rings that we've seen in the trailers. But that was probably the last of the internet trolls that I've ever had to deal with. So, but yeah, so we started with The Hobbit, and then I got off stage from that performance. I told my parents, I said, hey, I want to be an actor. I want to go to Emerson College, then I want to move to Hollywood, and I want to be an actor. And they're like, okay. But I did those things, and it's worked out. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of years where there wasn't. As I was saying, it's
feast or famine, as they say, right?
Yeah. But in terms of voice, I started